So it looks like Kraut and Tea can literally never complain about being doxxed or, mass flagged ever again, right? Because him and his little minions recently have come out. There was some leaked audio, there was some leaked conversations and text and stuff of people saying how they're going to mass flag JF's one of his recent videos because in his recent video there was he got a leaked stream from Kraut and Tea and another guy talking to his scientists, and his scientists were essentially explaining to him how Kraut is wrong and how JF is right, and the whole video JF is laughing at him and he's like pausing it and saying like, hey, look, this your guy is saying that I am right, right? And a lot of the scientists, they were saying like, hey, they didn't even read a lot of JS material, they didn't watch any of his videos, they just did a very basic assessment of some of the claims that Kraut had presented to them, and they're all like in the stream, they're like, oh, maybe we should have studied up on him a little bit more, right? So this video essentially discredits all of his 4 videos that he made before, and this is why he had it mass flagged, right? Which is such a low, dirty tactic. It's like, it just shows how weak really Kraut is. And, hopefully he takes a big hit for this in his subscriber count and he loses. And this kills his channel because he's been going down this road for a long time. And a lot of these people that he's teaming up with, they're just a bunch of leftists who pretend that they're moderates and skeptics because they're smart enough to say like, oh, SJWs are bad, right? But they all have their own dogmatic beliefs of their own. A lot of them are anti-theists, and a lot of these people tend to be fairly dogmatic on their own, right? Like, you see their behavior now. They're not even willing to engage in debate when they're made to look stupid, when they're proven to be wrong. They're not able to even admit it. They're going to instead smear the people, mass flag their content, and it's like his shit was mass flagged, but I don't even believe it was anymore. It's like him and his group, the people as he's used to do this stuff, like this guy Zeph and a couple other people, like they have been known to, do this type of doxing and this type of behavior in the past. Apparently JF was saying that this Zeph guy was saying something about he was trying to blackmail him so he wouldn't release the stream or something. Like, I don't know if this is true, but considering what I've read and some of the links I've read, like I can believe it, right? It's pretty fucked up. So I believe that probably the mass flagging that happened in his videos was probably done on his own. He probably got his own people to do it to make his videos look more legitimate. Like, that's what I almost believe at this point, because his first couple videos were not mass flagged by the alt-right, right? Because he didn't make any good arguments. And then why would his other ones be? Right? He didn't make any better arguments in those ones either. So there's no point. Like, they understand the Streisand effect as well, but apparently Kraut doesn't, right? You just made JF, like, you just exposed him and his arguments to more people now when his video, if it gets reinstated, etc. But he's attacking people that are calling him out legitimately. Like, V called him out, and he said like, hey, because all this has been made public and stuff, because they're trying to, like, keep this stuff hidden. And he's like, because V, made a video about him saying like, hey, this is, he shouldn't dox and do this behavior. And then another leak thing came out about Kraut talking about V, saying like, oh, he's just pandering to the alt-right. He's trying to get views and he's trying to get Patreon donations from alt-righters. And it's like, V, this shows you how much of a douchebag and retard Kraut is, because V, every other video, it's like he's making it about how he hates the alt-right and this and that, and he's like insulting them and stuff. So, to say that about him makes no fucking sense. It exposes him, Kraut, for just, he's seeing things very emotionally right now. He's not using logic, or he does see it correctly and he's just being a stubborn little bitch and just like, oh, fuck this guy. It's like, man, you're wrong. And it's like, man, he just needs to honestly just go away, because his tactics are shit, his arguments are shit, his videos are shit, and it's like a lot of what he's doing right now. Like there's this whole group that was released and it was showing all these different people, and then there was a huge statement he had released too. Like it sounds like a mission statement from like CNN or like these news networks where it's like, all right guys, we're gonna get in a meeting, we're gonna discuss the narrative, and then we're going to spew it out into the world. And they were doing this with JF, for example. Like they were saying, JF is a pedophile. JF supports, he wants to like fuck retards or something. So they're all repeating the same thing, and it's like they're not addressing any of the arguments he made when he was addressing Kraut's videos, and they're just attacking him. And Kraut even admitted that in one of the streams that he barely even watched any of JF's stuff. He watched like 20 minutes of it. So how does he even know he's wrong or anything like that? He's just trying to attack him and insult him. So like, this is low, right? This is a leftist tactic, right? And this is something that SJWs do, and this is just going to give more support to the alt-right and to the groups you're trying to attack. Because if you keep doing it with these methods and you're being dishonest, people will see that, and then you're going to lose a lot of support. That's why a lot of people like Sargon and these other groups, people are not joining you because you're clearly operating from an ideological standpoint that you're not willing to compromise or move on. You already think you're right. You think you know everything. So now the ends justify the means. You can do whatever you need to do to discredit these people, silence them, because you're right and you know what's best for people. And what's best for people is getting rid of these people and silencing them. And it's like I said before, like, the Streisand effect will work. And censoring these people will bite you in the ass. So I suggest you guys just try to come up with actual arguments, look at actual science. Don't just rush out your videos to disprove these people. And maybe also admit that they were probably right on some things. Like JF, he's simply talking about genetics and heritability. Like, how is that really debatable? Right? Of course genetics are heritable, or hereditary, right? When you see a tall person, two tall people, do you expect them to have like a fucking midget or a tiny kid? No, they're most likely going to have another tall person. It's the same with intelligence, same with anything else. Of course it's passed down, and of course environment plays an effect, but genetics and what he was talking about, twin studies, proves that genetics intelligence is genetic, right? So it shouldn't really be this complicated, right? Like, some people seem to believe that humans have not been subject to the same evolution that all other animals have, right? Like, if you take humans and you put them in different locations for thousands of years, they are going to evolve differently, right? And they're not going to all be the same. We can see this. People are different colors, different facial features, bone structure. We can see all these things, right? So to believe that like intelligence and these things aren't genetic as well, or a passed down trait doesn't really make much sense, right? It's like, yes, smart people can have dumb kids, but it's all about percentages and likelihood. Yes, if you're smart, you're more likely to have a smart kid. If you're dumb, you're less likely to have smart kids. But there's always changes. It doesn't all work linearly, and there's always exceptions to the rules and shit. But yeah, like, he needs to get off of this attacking these people, the alt-right, essentially, because he's just making himself look stupid. There are many legitimate things to criticize them on, but he's trying to take this scientific approach where he doesn't have himself any expertise in it. The only expertise he does have is he has like a German British sounding voice, so it sounds intelligent when he's talking about it, but he's not really saying anything that is intelligent or that makes a lot of sense per se. Like it's not, or correct, right? So he's got that voice. You know, a lot of Americans, a lot of people that hear that are like, and then he says it like, oh, like of course these fools don't know what correct is. You know, in that manner. You know, he says in that manner, and you think like, oh man, this guy must know what he's talking about, right? So, you know, perception is a big issue. It's a big deal with him, and a lot of it is perception. He's not as smart as he fucking sounds, right? And I don't see him, you know, after all this being released, I don't see him coming back. His character has been exposed. The way that he is, the way that he acts, has been shown. And people, after a certain age, don't change. They don't change their behavior like that. It's harder for them to change. So, you know, I see him going down the same route as Alternative Facts or Spinosaurus, Steven Sherratt, whatever his name is. Like he's eventually going to become like him, right? But, you know, that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.